Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the Salescast Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we are on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
Hey there, it's Larry, and I'm thrilled to share something incredibly close to my heart. My latest book, Selling in a Post-Trust World, is now available. In today's landscape where trust is harder to come by than ever, I've poured my years of experience into these pages to guide you through connecting genuinely and building lasting relationships with your customers. This book is more than just strategies. It's about transforming the way you sell by being authentic, real, and trustworthy in every interaction. It's for those who believe that integrity and sales can go hand in hand, and for anyone looking to not just meet their quotas, but to truly make a difference in their customers' lives. If you're ready to elevate your sales game and navigate the complexities of selling in a world where skepticism is the norm, Selling in a Post-Trust World is your must-read guide. And here's the best part. Even though it won't hit the bookstores until this summer, you can get your hands on an advanced reader's copy right now. Just head over to sellinginaposttrustworld.com or click the link in the show notes, and let's embark on this journey together towards more meaningful, trust-based selling.
Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, by the way, Darrell, what isn't going on? Great seeing you. We have all kinds of things going on. I know you're going to share, but it's a great day here at Selling from the Heart.
It's a good day. If you want to grow, you need a growth revolution. You need a purposeful growth revolution. And we got Mark Mears in the studio. This is going to be a phenomenal episode. It's the middle of summer. Things are hot. We want to keep you focused here at Selling from the Heart. Look, I hope you're having a great vacation, but we got to stay on point. We've got to stay motivated. We got to stay focused. And Larry, I don't know of any better way to stay motivated and focused, but to get your own personal autographed copy of Selling in a Post-Trust World. How's that for a promo?
There you go. You know what? I tell you what, it's been amazing to see the outpouring of support for Selling in a Post-Trust World. I just wanted to say thank you. I want to give a special shout out to a dear friend of mine, Andy Holt. You were bugging me forever and a day. When are you going to finish this? When are you going to finish this? Well, I know, Andy, you got your copy. Thank you. I appreciate everyone who's been holding the book up, selfie mode, popping it out on social. Thank you, because together we're spreading this word.
Well, if you've been on vacation from the podcast, or maybe you're new, we're here to tell you that Selling in a Post-Trust World is available. Now, here's the cool thing. It releases in bookstores later this summer. However, we have made a special arrangement to be able to get advanced readers editions. These are things that normally go to the people that endorse books and pre-read books. We've got a lot of these. We negotiated a pretty cool opportunity so we can put these in your hands. Selling in a Post-Trust World. If you want your advanced readers edition, all you got to do is go to sellinginaposttrustworld.com. Links in the show notes down here, and get your advanced readers edition, and Larry will sign it. And I got my signed copy, and I'm so excited about this message because it's so relevant to the sales world and where we are right now in a world that is arguably a post-trust world.
No, absolutely. And by the way, where's your selfie of you holding up the book? Come on, Darrell Amy.
I gave you a video, Larry.
That's all good. It's all good. I had to test you, but nevertheless,
that's my copy away.
But that's not why we're here. That's not why we're here.
We're here to have a great time today. Actually, today we are joined by Mark A. Mears. He's the acclaimed author and chief growth officer at Leaf Growth Ventures. And he is known for his book, The Purposeful Growth Revolution, 4 Ways to Grow from a Leader to a Legacy Builder. In this book, he explores how leaders can extend their impact beyond conventional success to leave lasting legacies. With a rich background, including executive roles at major brands In his current focus on purposeful growth, Mark has pioneered the LEAF growth model. And we're going to learn about the LEAF growth model today, emphasizing leadership, engagement, accountability, and fulfillment to drive business and personal growth. Mark's going to share how integrating this model can help sales professionals and sales leaders not only achieve business success, but also contribute positively to society. We're so glad to have Mark here in the studio with us. Mark, welcome to Selling from the Heart.
Hey, thank you guys, Darrell, Larry. I really appreciate it. I'm so jazzed to be with you all today.
No, we're grateful you're hanging out with us. Thank you.
This is going to be an incredible conversation because I know this audience wants to grow and I know they want purpose and they want to make an impact. So as we get started, Mark, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers, and that is, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
Well, it's a great question. And I tell you, I like to be provocative, and I hope you don't take this in the wrong way, but I don't look at it as selling. I look at it as offering value. And just like those of you listening who are sales leaders, I come from more of a marketing background, brand building. And of course, you have to sell, obviously, in that arena. But I believe that all it really is a value exchange. And I love the way you have couched the new book, Larry, that you have coming out, because authenticity is so important. Trust is so important in building a relationship. And I've done my share of sales roles. I was head of sales and marketing at Universal Studios Hollywood. Had to keep the turnstiles turning every single day. But I didn't look at them as faceless, nameless transactions. I looked at them like I would look in the mirror at another human being, and I'd want to build a relationship with them. Because I knew when they were going through those turnstiles and enjoying a special day at Universal Studios Hollywood, there were friends, there were family members, maybe someone's on a date, but they're having their best life. I looked at that as a value that's exchanged based on the cost of the ticket and concessions and all that to something, I don't know if you can even put a price on it. Those memories that you have with those you love when you're having your best day. So the one thing I have learned is that there's a short distance between the heart and the wallet. And you have to think about it that way if you're really going to be successful. Because if you're going to just see people as faceless, nameless transactions, you may be successful in the moment, but you really want to do is build lasting, trusting, and loving relationships. We all know it's easier to get an existing customer or client to buy more and more often than it is to go out and try to find a new one. So, and we also know within the marketing model I grew up with was think, feel, do. What do you want someone to think about you? How do you want them to feel as a result about it? And what do you want them to do? And I think that's great. But it doesn't stop there. And especially in this day and age of social media, the fourth element is relate. And you think about relate as a root word for relationships. Again, authentic, trusting, lasting, loving. But also, if you're really good, you want them to relate their experiences with you to others. And I also know the most sincere and cost-effective form of marketing is word of mouth. And in this digital world we live in, that may take the form of a review, right? How many of us would go out and purchase anything of value without reading reviews first? How many of us would try a new restaurant without reading reviews first? And how many of us, if we had someone in the family, like I've got a brother-in-law who's an IT expert, and I'm not. I can't even spell IT unless you spot me the I or the T first. When I'm looking for a new computer, who am I going to ask, right? So if he comes back and says, you really ought to try whatever, and here's why, that is going to mean a lot to me. So short distance between the heart and the wallet, building relationships with 4 integrated elements or components. Think, feel, do, relate.
Oh, there's by the way, there's so much gold to unpack in there, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in our time. But I want to hit on something that you had said, and this connects to the heart and the wallet, and it's about the experiences that you provide. Not only that, it's the memories. And you go back to, your days at Universal Hollywood and all this. Insert any amusement park, insert any concert, any sporting event. They play on this. They play on the ability to capture memories and capture experiences. And people pay handsomely for this because it's how they feel when they're paying for those memories and experiences. And if more salespeople and sales leaders would just grasp the idea that how you make somebody feel and how you connect to their heart has a direct impact to profitability and revenue.
Yeah, I just want to build on that because I'm glad you picked up on that. Here we are again in this new age of digitization, machine learning, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality. And it seems like we're all becoming a series of ones and zeros instead of human beings, right? So I'm on a mission to put the human back in human resources. And we'll talk about this idea of love after we get through the LEAF model. But this idea of relationships and experiences. And the fact is, until the robots or zombies come take us away, we're all humans. And no matter what your vocation is or industry sector or vertical, we're all in the people business. And if we're in the people business, that means we're in the feelings business. Because if you think about it, how someone feels as a result of that value exchange I talked about is where the gold is, right? And so you want them to come away with this sense of tremendous value. And value is a simple equation of what do I get for what do I pay, right? But in there, in the middle there, is this notion of how do I feel about it? I mean, you could go buy a car and every one you buy, for the most part, you could drive off the lot and it'll get you from point A to point B, hopefully safely and successfully. But you have a certain feeling. And when you sit in a car that really makes you jazzed about driving. And maybe it's a reflection on how you feel about yourself. Maybe you're like me and you've had some really long commutes and you just say, look, this is an investment I'm making in my well-being. Yeah. I want to be comfortable in this car. It's not about status. It's about feeling this sense of comfort when I'm on my way and to and from work, right? So same idea, four wheels, but how do I feel as a result of that value exchange? And so for all of your listeners who are sales professionals, and I say that word professional because that denotes a certain level of not only expertise, but the way that you care for your clients or customers, the way you demonstrate your heart in over-delivering what you said you would do. And that is another way you're going to build experiences that lead to repeat purchases, that lead to recommendations, that makes your job ultimately more satisfying and probably a little easier. But that sense of fulfillment is what should motivate all of us to be our very best.
I love that you bring that up because it's selling from the heart. We talk about the difference between sales professionals and sales representatives. And there's also sales leadership professionals as well. And we've got this incredible resource that you've put together for us. I'm going to hold it up right here. For those listening in, I'm holding up the Purposeful Growth Revolution, 4 ways to grow from leader to legacy builder. Now that's a professional right there, a legacy builder. Talk to us about the model inside this book. And I love acronyms that I can remember. And a leaf is definitely something that I can remember. I'm actually a Maple Leafs fan, so this is going to be super easy for me. I don't know about Larry, but
I get you, dude. I get you. I know where you're going. I got it.
Wait, a Maple Leafs fan in Arkansas?
Hey, go figure, right? That's what happens when you marry a Southern girl. So, the reality of all of this is, we've got a lot of leaders and future leaders listening in here. I love this concept about going from just being a leader to actually being someone that builds legacy. That's beautiful. So unpack this for us in the model that's right here in the Purposeful Growth Revolution.
Well, thanks, Darrell. It started as an epiphany. I was serving as the president of a $500 million casual dining restaurant chain in Southern California at the time, having just left my post as the senior VP of marketing and chief marketing officer at the Cheesecake Factory. And my team and I were tasked with putting a new brand positioning out there, reflecting a new menu and service model that was a bit more contemporary, and really providing a new concept that the parent company, we're owned by a publicly traded company at the time, could put capital behind and to help us grow as one of their units in their portfolio. Challenge accepted. And so we worked. And back then, as a young president, I had heard of this concept called the rule of threes. I'm sure you guys may have heard of it. If you focus on three things, you'll be more productive, more focused, and ultimately more successful. And I said, well, our three things are going to be leadership, engagement, and accountability. We need strong leadership up and down the ranks. This is a turnaround. It's not going to be easy. And we need to engage people with their heart, head, hands, and habits. And then we need to hold people, ourselves, our teams, our restaurant team members accountable for results, because we're part of a publicly traded company, right? And so my mantra was leadership, engagement, and accountability. And every week I would send out emails, and back then we had group voicemails, and I would use it as a reward and recognition tool to say, hey, Larry is demonstrating great leadership by X, Y, and Z, or Darrell is engaging his team members on a deeper level, so their scores are higher, or Mark is holding his team accountable for results, and look what they've done and going from X down to Y up. And it was a rallying cry. Everybody knew it. Unfortunately, 2 years into it, instead of giving us the capital that they promised, I was told they were going to put us up for sale. We actually turned the brand around from double-digit negative sales, an exciting, new, youthful, contemporary, vibrant brand positioning, new menu, new uniforms, new everything. And we were killing it. Our return on invested capital in our test restaurants was through the roof. Well, unfortunately, that was a time when they thought, well, let's strike while the iron's hot. And the new owner came in and decided they were going to move in a different direction. The deal closed on a Friday. On Monday morning at 8 a.m., in a meeting with the new CEO, we're going to get together. We're going to plan our future together over that week. I was informed we're moving in a different direction, and we're not going to pursue extending this relationship with you or your executive team. So I'm out the door. This is Southern California. I want to say it was February 21st, 2013, so just over 10 years ago. And if you know anything about Southern California, about that time is the first signs of spring start to emerge. So after a fitful night of sleep, so that just happened. The next morning I get up, I take the dog out, and Larry and Darrell, as God is my witness, when the sun was coming up over the wall in our backyard, we had a fig tree that was barren from the 6 or 7 weeks of winter we do get in Southern California. And there on the end of one branch was a tiny little green sprig of a leaf just starting to bud. In that moment, I got this epiphany. I took the dog inside. I went to my office, started banging out a treatment on my computer that leaf is a symbol for growth and rebirth. Mm-hmm. And I started going deeper into it. And I thought, wait a minute. It's also an acronym. And I thought, well, I don't go saying LEE, it's leadership, engagement, accountability. But then I thought, well, what was missing in that whole 2-year exchange? We were working our butts off, burning the candle at both ends, sacrificing. When I talk about a long commute, I lived out in Valencia and our offices were in Orange County. And if you know anything about LA, it's
an eternity. That is an eternity.
So I thought what we were doing was so noble, but at the end of the day, it wasn't very fulfilling. And I got this idea, that's the F. LEAF is not only a symbol of growth and rebirth, it's an acronym. It stands for leadership, which we desperately do need, engagement, which we have to have, accountability as well, but we also need fulfillment. And I thought, well, think of it as a 4-circle Venn diagram. And why I now believe in the higher power of 4s versus the old outdated rule of 3s is because I thought about, there are 4 seasons, not 3. There are 4 directions, not 3. There are 4 chambers to the human heart, not 3. There are 4 elements to an atom, the source of all life, not 3. And I could go on and on with this foreplay, but you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought of it as a 4-circle Venn diagram. So it became a model because like the seasons, March 21st, it's first official day of spring on your calendar. That may be true in some parts of the country. It certainly isn't in others because there's an overlap, right, to our seasons. And there's an overlap to each of these 4 elements. They're not linear. You don't do leadership and then move on to engagement and move on to accountability, move on to fulfillment. It's all intertwined. And at the epicenter is purposeful growth. And so when I say revolutionary, it's both literal and figurative in that we're always getting better. We're always on a trajectory of continuous improvement and learning. How can we be better leaders? How can we engage ourselves and our team members on a deeper, more emotional level? How can we hold ourselves and others accountable for not only growth today, but to plan for growth in the future? And then fulfillment represents this idea of community. So often we hear about culture and words are bandied around and sometimes either misunderstood or overused. But I believe that the better word for culture is community. A culture may just be a place someone feels they're a part of. Not bad. A community is a place they feel they belong in. And that word belonging is so important. There's a lot of hue and cry today about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And there should be. But you think about it again, that 4th element, not just those 3, the 4th element is actually what completes that unit. Diversity just gets us in the door. Equity gives us an equal voice. That's good. Inclusion gets us a seat at the table, better yet. But if we don't feel like we belong, then we're likely not going to feel vulnerable, really giving of our very best because we don't want to rock the boat. Maybe it took us a lot of years to get in the room and in the seat and to at least have a voice. We don't want to say something stupid. We don't want something to boomerang back and have it held against us. So we're just going to sit quiet. Well, who wins in that scenario? So if you're creating a community where someone feels they belong, and as I mentioned, it doesn't matter what industry, what sector, what vertical you're in, we're all in the people business. And by association, we're all in the feelings business. And so making someone feel they belong is really important. And that LEAF model is designed to create this, kind of metaphor of a tree. So leadership represents the seed and root system. Like, any organization, you have to have strong leadership or it will wither and die. Same thing with that fig tree in my backyard. And then engagement represents the trunk and the branches and the system of nourishment, which is called savia. I learned in Spanish that translates to English as lifeblood. What's the lifeblood of any organization? It's people.
Yep.
And so now you go to accountability, which represents the leaf and the fruit. That's what that fig tree is designed to do. It only knows how to be a fig tree, in which case its purpose, its accountability is to grow fig leaves, which is where all growth happens, is through the leaf, through the magic of photosynthesis, as well as the fruit. And we'll get to that in a minute. And then finally, fulfillment represents the ecosystem, a nurturing environment, a community, if you will, where that plant, in this case, the fig tree, which is where the epiphany came from, can grow up into its full potential. And then the cool thing, guys, is that back to that fruit, not only is that fig fruit sustenance for people and animals, but inside are seeds that when scattered can create new fig trees. So this whole idea of kind of paying it backward is really important in this book of scattering your seeds. helping others along their growth journey, making your communities better as a result, indeed making the world better as a result of what you do.
Oh, wow. You know what I mean, there's so much to unpack. And by the way, Mark, you got an open ticket. You can come hang with us anytime you want because you're speaking our lingo. But I want to just real quickly in the time we have remaining, I want to go back to the F part of this and the fulfilling part of this, because you use the word belonging and you use the word community.
Yeah.
And if leaders pour into their people and they help them become fulfilled, they create that sense of belonging, which in tune starts to build community. The question being is how many feel fulfilled?
Yeah.
How many of them feel like they belong? And how many of them actually feel like they're in a community? So when they come to work, they feel good about becoming to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And that's why I believe words matter, and
100%.
I don't like the word employee or worker or any of those. You're a team member. You think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but man, I grew up playing sports. I don't care what season it was. I played it. And what I loved is the camaraderie of being part of a team. What I loved is the accountability of playing my role on the team and making sure that I didn't let others down. To me, that is so important in looking at you. If you're a leader, you have team members. You don't have employees who are maybe a faceless, nameless employee ID number. You have real live human beings. And so while this isn't in the book, it is in the special author bonus Q&A in the audiobook that I just put out. And it's this notion of moving from a manager, which, let's face it, those of us who went to business school, many of us went to schools of management. We learn how to manage budgets and timelines and, resources and results. But oftentimes as a team member, we're probably a good doer and we get promoted and we don't really know how to lead. We have to learn on, there weren't, at least during my day, any real major classes on leadership. There aren't today more, but it's still becoming an art, but it's not so hard. Now, if you want to go from being a leader to a legacy builder, let's go back and unpack that idea of a team member. It's transactional. When I first, got out of graduate school, I needed a job. So the thing was, I need a job from you. And then when I got to become a manager, I looked at who, I served and had this lens of, I must obey you. Okay. Because that becomes, this real transactional approach to it. But when you become a leader, that becomes more relational. That's trusting. And that means you're now somebody wants to follow. But it doesn't stop there. If you want to become a legacy builder, you want to be a leader that someone not just wants to follow. You want to be that leader that others want to follow when it's your turn to lead. So imagine the ripple effect. And that will help get us out of this outdated command and control management style that no longer serves us, and specifically not among younger millennials and Gen Z. I can tell you from my own research, I have twin 26-year-old daughters that have a very different expectation of work than I did coming up. They're not going to tolerate it. They're going to go elsewhere. And many of them are going out on their own and becoming entrepreneurs, and that's great, but it shouldn't be because they have to. Because we still need big business. We still need business to be the engine of growth, not only economically, but from a community enhancement and a global enhancement perspective. So being a leader people want to follow is important. Being a leader that others want to be like so that they can create other pods of leadership and legacy building elements that will help us continue to grow and evolve in the new world of work.
Wow.
It takes love.
It does.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
And then there's another model. Again, it's not in the book, but it's in the audiobook Q&A section. It stands for listen, observe, value, and empower. So listening to someone on a deep level, like really get to know them, and listen to what they're saying, but also what they're not saying, and ask good questions. We don't know what's going on in someone's life. It could be they're caring for an elderly parent. It could be they have a relationship issue at home. It could be they have a young daughter or son who's getting ready to go into surgery. They're distracted, and maybe they're not willing to say it because they don't know if they can trust you, right? But listening is so important in any relationship. Observing is important because so often we wait for the dreaded annual performance appraisal that no one does well, nobody likes. And I happen to live in Kansas City, home of the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. And Andy Reid, the head coach, wouldn't wait for the end of the season to coach. He's coaching every day in real time and encouraging and critiquing in a positive, constructive way, whether it's in the film rooms, the team rooms, practice field, before the game, halftime, after the game. You're always wanting to observe somebody in real time and coach and encourage them along their journey. And then value them, value the whole person, right? And not just in reward and recognition, which is important, but value them by giving them maybe opportunities to learn and grow. Some people are uncomfortable being recognized and rewarded in public, but everyone likes to feel like you're investing in them. You show value in what you invest in and who you invest in. So providing opportunities to learn and grow is great, but the last one is so important. It all leads to this: empowerment. When you empower somebody, you are helping them be the very best they can be. And you think about it when probably we all learned how to ride a bike. I know I did. You got, I probably started with trike. I think the big wheel came after my era. But remembering when I got this great blue Schwinn bike, but I wasn't ready to ride it. So I had training wheels. And I remember that when I got a little older, more comfortable, my dad said, it's time to take the training wheels off. And I remember they took the training wheels off, and I had this trepidation and a little bit of fear, but also this excitement. And went down the sidewalk with them, my mom and my dad, right alongside, coaching me, holding on to the handlebar, and then slowly taking it away and continuing to coach until I wobbled and fell, more than probably a few times. They got me back up on the bike. And at that moment, I remember the time when I was able to go on my own, stop, start, turn, and that sense of freedom. I can, as I'm talking about it, I can remember it vividly in my mind's eye today. Imagine if you could make your team members feel that same sense of empowerment, that same sense of freedom we all had when we learned how to ride a bike. Love is the answer. So to put the human back in human resources and to build lasting, trusting relationships, it's not hard. Well, unless you're not human, to demonstrate those most fundamental needs that we all learned about from Maslow's hierarchy, but we all know intuitively in our own heart, we need to feel loved, listened to, observed, valued, and empowered.
I love it. Well, we're putting the human back in human resources, the heart back in selling. And if you want to take action on this, I know everyone's thinking to themselves, how in the world do I get more Mark Mears in my life?
Well, I think that I'd like to get more Larry and Darrell in my life, for sure. But I will say, if you found this of interest at all, you can buy the book, The Purposeful Growth Revolution, 4 Ways to Grow from Leader to Legacy Builder. It's on Amazon. And as I mentioned, now available for some of you that prefer to consume audiobooks or a wonderful podcast like this using an audio medium. It's now available. And plus you get the bonus 15-minute guest Q&A that I was able to put on top of that. That's not in the physical book. And then also there is a free Purposeful Growth self-assessment. It takes about 5 or 6 minutes. And when you're done, it can help provide a benchmark of where you are on this whole concept of what does purposeful growth mean to me in my life, in my work? How am I being supported at work? And where are some gaps that maybe I would like to fill? If I'm a leader in a company or if I'm just a team member, it's fine. You will learn something about yourself because once you've completed, you'll automatically be able to download a free full color PDF that's got a customized report with your scores and seeds for growth. There are 4 different seeds for growth that I provide after each question to at least get you started along your growth journey.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. Hey, Mark, thank you so much. We're grateful for you hanging out with us. Really, this is a great time. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. And also, I'd love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn because this is not a one-way top-down monologue. I'm a growth junkie. I love to learn. And I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you. So hit me up on LinkedIn, connect with me. You can also subscribe to my monthly LinkedIn newsletter. But I really look forward to connecting with you and growing with you.
Awesome. Well, Mark, we so appreciate you sharing time. This has been incredible. Purposeful growth. We got a revolution going on here. Thanks for sharing time with us today.
The Purposeful Growth Revolution is on.
There you go.
Are you in?
Yes, we are. Awesome. Thanks, you, Mark. Oh, what a great conversation.
Darrell, I love it.
There is so much depth and wisdom and value in this. I don't even know where to start with but let's just start with love. Can we start there? I mean, as selling from the heart, if we can bring love into our leadership and then into our client relationships, what Mark was saying right there at the end is pure gold. And I love that line about the wallet is very close to the heart. And that is absolutely true as well.
I hear you. I hear on that. I want to go back to this love just really quick. And then Darrell, you can wrap up and send us off into a great time, afterwards is this. With love, here's what I want us to think about. If you can bring love into your personal relationships, my challenge is what's preventing you from bringing it into your professional relationships with your people? Because your people are everything.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much to everybody who is part of this community. We love the way this community of authentic sales professionals and leaders all over the world continues to grow. We're bringing new people in all the time. This is a movement of authenticity and trust right here in this profession we all love. I love everybody that is holding up their copy of Selling a Post-Trust World and sharing that on social. It's so fun to see that. If you don't have your copy, no worries. All you got to do is go to sellinginapostttrustworld.com, grab your advanced reader's edition right now, and Larry will autograph it, send it your way with a few goodies. And it's just going to be so exciting as we're getting this message out to the world. Speaking of message, all summer long, we've got incredible guests lined up. So make sure to like and subscribe. And especially thank you to those who are sharing the podcast and leaving reviews, because that's helping us together spread this movement of authenticity.
It sure is. I'm grateful. I know Darrell is. Together, we're building something really special here at Selling from the Heart. Thank you for being a part of our community.
Yeah. So till next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, launch a purposeful growth revolution, and most of all,
Sell from the heart.